Hello everyone. This is James again from menwhoareabused.com, bringing to you part 2 in this discussion on how to retrain your brain for successful relationships. Remember, though I am from menwhoareabused.com, this information can be helpful for both men and women alike, as both men and women are abused equally. Now on to the next phase in retraining your brain. In video 1 we covered the first tool you will use in the retraining process, which is reflection. The second tool we are going to look at now is the ability to identify our own problems with this self-reflection and a way to train ourselves out of it by building muscle memory. This identification process of your problem can be done by going to a skilled therapist to help you learn what problems you possess. Or you can start to read up on the subject of victims of abuse. Whichever path you choose, you will more than likely run into the term codependent. Now there are plenty of clinical descriptions of codependence all over the web and many books regarding abuse and personality disorders. However, I will attempt to give you a more real-world look at what a codependent is and does. Because though codependents enable bad behavior, there is way more to it than that. And it's for this reason many do not realize they are codependent in nature. Codependents tend to wear every single emotion they are feeling on their sleeve, and share all of these emotions they are feeling with any and everyone. This can and does make these people ideal victims for toxic and abusive individuals. You see, there is nothing wrong with emotional honesty. Heck, more people should be that way in my opinion. But we all know there is a time we need to be careful regarding who and what we tell people. However, codependents do not know how to gauge if a situation is safe to share certain details, or if certain details should remain private. These types can share their innermost thoughts with perfect strangers if they feel a so-called good vibe, which can be just the stranger is smiling and being polite, which really does not tell the codependent anything about his or her real character. These types tend to move fast in relationships just as the abuser does. However, the codependent is moving fast for a confusion of the emotional high one feels with a new relationship for real love, whereas the abuser will move fast to gain control over the victim. So when the time is right, the abuse can start. The codependent's nature for telling a person their innermost thoughts when not really knowing a person shows their lack of boundaries. The abuser picks up on this fact and realizes if they have no boundaries, the potential victim will be the type to put up with poor behavior. Codependents tend to be helpers and fixers. Now there is nothing wrong with being helpful and kind. More people should be this way. However, codependents tend to leap before they look in helping someone, and in that they usually end up helping an abuser walk right through the front door, so to speak. Which is very sad but very true. Codependents do not seem to realize you can forgive someone, yet walk away and move on to a happier life without the abuser. They seem to feel that they are doing something wrong by breaking up with an abusive person that constantly says sorry as a cover-up, and they begin to build up their identity around the abuse that they are being dished out. So with this being said, what do you do to train yourself out of this if this description fits you? You start by writing down all of these codependent traits you have, and specific situations where you showed such traits. Then write down what you now think you should have done. Get a journal notepad and do this. Or you can do this on your laptop. The reason for this is a very powerful one. You are now creating a record you can refer back to in moments of reflection, or just when you are curious to see what you wrote. Make as many entries as you can. And do yourself a favor and reread some of these entries during your 30-minute-a-day self-reflection. What you are now doing is building up muscle memory in your brain just the same as you doing a bench press or bicep curls. If you do those bench presses and bicep curls enough, your muscles will respond by becoming stronger and more athletic. Well, with making several entries into your journal of such codependent behavior you have exhibited, and what you would have done differently, and rereading these over and over will start to make these new ways of thinking a new part of your daily habits when dealing with such abusive people. You see, this is not limited to just your dating partners. This can be with your friends, co-workers, and family too. You may meet a new friend that just moved next to you, And before you even get to know the guy, you were telling him you will fix his car for him. Now it is nice to be a good Samaritan. However, codependents do more than the average Joe, unknowingly thinking this will pay off in the form of love or being liked as a friend. Codependents need to learn how to slow their pace down a bit and look before they leap in their relationships, and that their relationships should not be based on how many cookies they bake, how much they run themselves in circles for someone, how much money they spend on someone, or that they are always doing what they are being asked to do by others. By rereading such entries, you can see how silly and awkward some of your behavior was and is. And then you are rereading what you should have done to give you some constant re-education on how to handle certain life events. These entries with things you would do differently should be turned into a form of boundaries. Let's say, for example, you are dating a girl for 6 months. She says she is going to watch a movie with her girlfriend. Then your best friend runs into her at a nightclub talking to some guy at the bar. No sex. Just talking. Your friend tells you, and you confront your girlfriend the next day. She says she is sorry she lied, but she felt that you would be mad if she said she went to a nightclub, and that she really was not doing anything wrong, and the guy she was talking to was an old friend from high school. How many of you been in this situation? Raise your hands. Wow, there are too many hands to count. Well, this is where journal entries and boundaries are important. Let's say that a couple of your boundaries are no shady dealings with the opposite sex, and no lying. Then you go back and reread an entry where something like this happened to you 3 years before. And as you recall from your entries regarding that relationship was horrible, with your former dating partner in your journal entries always lying and apologizing, and you just staying and taking it. So what does your new boundaries mandate you do? You say thanks for your apology, but you have crossed personal boundaries I have set for myself, and I am ending this relationship as of now. If they cry and beg you back, just repeat the above you just stated and wish them well on the rest of their life. Because you know these people have figured out, if they can get you to take one lie from them, then you will take every other lie from them. But things are different now. You have the ability of self-reflection and seeing the truth for what it is. And you now have fair and reasonable boundaries set in place to protect you from the lying and fake people. By doing this at least once in your life, you have added to your muscle memory triple-fold, as you have now put it into action. However, being a codependent is like being an alcoholic. You can always slip. So you need to keep on journaling and now and then rereading these entries so you can reaffirm these lessons learned. And you can keep your emotional muscles sharp. I think that is enough brain muscle flexing for now. In part 2, I will post a part 3, where we will take these tools to another level and explore deeper on how to retrain your brain for successful relationships. Until next time, bye for now, and be good to yourselves.